Donald Trump is an emblematic figure in American politics. As the 45th President of the United States,
he will make America great again.
He has disrupted the traditional norms of the way politics and policy are conducted in the country, so much so that attempts to impeach him from the presidency, not once, but twice. Hello folks, today on Behind the Date, we talk about the most controversial president of all time and the reasons behind his impeachment. Why did it happen? What was its aftermath? Find answers to all these questions and more in this video. Trump's rise to the presidency in 2016 was a shock to many, yet his unconventional approach to politics has continued to draw a large amount of support from many parts of the nation. His policies and rhetoric have been met with both opposition and admiration, as he has been widely criticized for his controversial approach to decision-making. He has worked to reduce government regulations with the goal of freeing up businesses to create jobs and stimulate economic growth. He has also proposed large tax cuts, which he believes will encourage businesses to invest in the United States. Additionally, Trump has been a vocal proponent of immigration reform, advocating for tougher border security and a merit-based system for immigration. Trump has also been vocal in his support for policies that many view as divisive. He has sought to roll back civil rights protections for the LGBTQ+ community and has sought to ban immigration from certain Muslim-majority countries. He has also been strongly opposed to abortion rights and has sought to defund Planned Parenthood. He has also been a vocal supporter of the Second Amendment, advocating for gun rights and opposing any form of gun control. Trump's presidency has been met with both staunch opposition and enthusiastic support. His supporters have praised his policies, particularly his economic policies, and view him as a strong leader who is willing to stand up to the status quo. Critics have argued that his policies are too extreme and have been detrimental to the country. They have also argued that his language and rhetoric have been divisive and have only created further divisions within the country. Not only that, but the critics have also pointed out the unethical use of power by Trump to sway public opinion, which later on became the primary accusation for his first ever impeachment. On December 18, 2019, the United States House of Representatives voted to impeach President Donald Trump for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. This marked the third time in American history that a president has been impeached, previously being Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton. The initial impeachment proceedings began in September 2019 after an anonymous whistleblower reported that President Trump had inappropriately attempted to pressure the Ukrainian government into investigating former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden and form false narratives around them. The whistleblower's complaint was based on a phone conversation between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, during which Trump asked Zelensky to investigate the Biden family and discredit some conspiracy theories in exchange for military aid. The House of Representatives then launched a formal impeachment inquiry into President Trump and ultimately approved 2 articles of impeachment against the president. The first article accused President Trump of abuse of power for using his office to solicit foreign interference in the 2020 election by asking the Ukrainian president to investigate the Bidens. The second article charged the president with obstruction of Congress for refusing to cooperate with the impeachment inquiry. The impeachment articles were then sent to the Senate, which began a trial in early 2020. The Senate ultimately acquitted the president, and although the impeachment process did not result in the removal of President Trump from office, it was nonetheless a historic event in American political history. But that's not the end. Trump was impeached, yet once again. The second impeachment of Donald Trump is the first time a president of the United States has been impeached twice, and also the first time a former president has been impeached. The House of Representatives voted to impeach President Trump for incitement of insurrection on January 13, 2021, after a mob of Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. The violence and destruction was unprecedented in the history of American politics. The mob, composed of mostly supporters of outgoing President Donald Trump, smashed windows, broke into the building, and looted congressional offices, all while chanting slogans of support for the president. The violence and destruction that occurred on Capitol Hill was deeply concerning to many Americans. The mob, fueled by a wave of misinformation and conspiracy theories, had been spurred on by President Trump's false claims that the 2020 election had been stolen from him, despite clear evidence to the contrary. The articles of impeachment state that President Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States. It further stated that Trump willfully made statements that encouraged and predicted the lawless violence and destruction that occurred at the Capitol. It also states that President Trump gravely endangered the security of the United States and its institutions. The House of Representatives voted 57-43 to impeach President Trump for the second time, with 7 Republican representatives joining the Democrats in the vote. But yet again, Trump was in the end acquitted and he was not removed as president. However, like the second impeachment of Donald Trump is an unprecedented event in American history and one that has sparked significant debate and discussion, leaving a lasting impact on American politics. But in the end, no matter how controversial he was, it would be unfair to put a spotlight on just Trump when it comes to impeachment. The world knows that there were other 2 figures as well. The impeachment of Andrew Johnson was the first impeachment of a sitting president of the United States. Johnson was impeached in the House of Representatives on February 24, 1868, for high crimes and misdemeanors, specifically for violating the Tenure of Office Act. This act stated that the president could not remove any appointed office holder without the consent of the Senate. The cause of Johnson's impeachment stemmed from the removal of Secretary of War Edwin Stanton in February of 1868. He had removed Stanton from office without the consent of the Senate, and hence it was seen as an act of defiance against the radical Republicans who had gained control of Congress. The impeachment proceedings against Johnson began on March 1868. In the House of Representatives, 11 articles of impeachment were presented, all of which related to Johnson's removal of Stanton from office. After a heated debate, the House voted on all 11 articles of impeachment, and the votes fell largely along party lines, with almost all Republicans voting in favor of impeachment and almost all Democrats voting against it. The final vote was 126 in favor of impeachment and 47 against. The trial of Johnson then moved to the Senate, where the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court voted on the 11 articles of impeachment, with 35 in favor and 19 against. This was 1 vote short of the 2/3 majority needed to convict Johnson and remove him from office. The second impeachment of a sitting president was of Bill Clinton. President Clinton was impeached on December 19, 1998, by the House of Representatives on 2 charges: perjury and obstruction of justice. The impeachment of President Clinton was the result of an investigation into his relationship with former White House intern Monica Lewinsky, which stemmed from a prior sexual harassment against Clinton by Paula Jones. Clinton denied any involvement with Lewinsky, and this constituted perjury and obstruction of justice, and it was these charges that became the basis of the impeachment proceedings. The House of Representatives voted to impeach President Clinton almost unanimously, with only 5 House members voting against the charges. The Senate then convened a trial to decide whether to remove the president from office. The trial lasted several months and featured testimony from witnesses such as Lewinsky and Clinton's legal counsel. In the end, the Senate voted against removing the president from office, with 45 senators voting to acquit and 55 voting to convict for perjury and 50-50 for obstruction of justice, none of which are the majority required to remove a president. Also, if you are interested in knowing more about Trump's presidency, check out our previous video on it on our YouTube.